Cinema.
Now, say hello to the new family in the town. Ross Jennings, played by Jeff Daniels, his wife Molly, and their two brat kids who aren't important, so just forget about them already. So Ross is about to become the town's new doctor until this stupid old fossil decides that he doesn't want to retire, leaving Ross in a world of shit. Poor Ross. Oh, and he really hates spiders. Now, I'm sure most people have seen Arachnophobia at some point of their lives, whether you hate spiders or not. I mean, I personally freak out at the sight of them and scream like a little girl, but I've always loved this movie. So, despite not having his job role as doctor yet, his new neighbour, this old bag called Margaret, throws him a party to welcome them to the town. Now, while this goes on, a bunch of spiders are living out in Ross's barn, and they start to run around. I mean, just looking at them scurrying about is creepy enough, and this film really does deliver in making you feel uncomfortable in your chair and paranoid that there's spiders crawling around you every time you have an itch. Anyway, where's this army of spiders come from? Well, if we backtrack to the very start of the film, this fella called Manley goes on an expedition to take some photographs with this scientist who looks like Richie from that 90s TV show Bottom. Look, it is him. It's not really. So, while gassing out butterflies, they come across a new breed of spider. One of them bites Manley while he's trying to have a bit of a kip. He dies, gets shipped back home with the spider in a crate. The spider escapes, scares the shit out of a cat, has a fight with a crow, kills it, and it lands in Ross's new house. Wow. That could be a new shitty idea for a film. Mega Crow versus giant spider or some other bollocks, and then have a wicked sequel where the scared cat becomes mutated and wants to get revenge on the giant spider. I mean, seriously, give it a few years and it probably will happen. So where was I? Oh yeah, Ross's party. Kind of got sidetracked there. So everyone goes home after a fun time and the town suffers its first fatality when old bag Margaret gets bitten by a spider. Any chance of another sequel, the comeback of the resurrected old bint Margaret to take on the giant spiders, mega crows and mutant cats? Possibly milking it a bit too much, I think. So Ross is naturally blamed for her having a heart attack by advising her to stop taking blood pressure tablets. Poor Ross. Oh, and when this guy puts on his helmet and is bitten and dies, he's managed to gain the title of Dr. Death. Poor Ross.
Everybody's calling you Dr. Death.
But it's a great name though, so let's call him it from now on. So, Dr. Death becomes the town's new official doctor when the silly old fossil is working out to get in shape for the Expendables 2 maybe, and he gets bitten by a spider and sadly dies. Now the thing with this film is, there's nobody that you really want to see die. Okay, so he was a grumpy old git who didn't much like Dr. Death's methods, but you still will him not to put on his slippers when you know the spider's hiding in there. So Dr. Death thinks all the deaths are the cause of spider bites, but nobody believes him. Poor Dr. Death. This is a strange scene. His daughter and friend are reading stories to each other, and oh look, Incy Wincy Spider is coming in for the kill, but why is the doll opening its eyes like it's worried the spider will land on it? It's not something you really notice or think about too much, but it's an amusing little touch that most people overlook, probably because they're shitting themselves about the spider. So Dr. Death phones up Richie from Bottom to talk to him about the spider deaths. It's a shame there's not Richie's old pal Eddie around, but oh wait a minute, because here he is! Okay, so he's got a bit more hair, but he can be Eddie from now on. So Richie sends Eddie along to check out the case, mainly because he's a fat lazy bastard and he can't be bothered.
We're going to be examining some bodies.
Oh hey, sounds like a blast.
At least he's excited. Look at Dr. Death here shitting his pants when he sees a coat hanger on his wall. Oh yeah, sorry, he thought it looked like a spider. You know, I think we need a song for Dr. Death. Aptly called Dr. Death. Dr. Death, Dr. Death, don't mess with him, he's Dr. Death, he'll bore you with his spider bites, but we all know he's full of crap, he's Dr. Death, he's Dr. Death, don't mess with him, he's Dr. Death.
You don't have to worry about anything. Yo, Dr. Death.
So Dr. Death teams up with Eddie, this guy and the fat local sheriff to search this house for spiders. Now the fat sheriff finds a dead spider when he starts munching down a box of cereal. Oh yeah, help yourself fat boy. But this always used to make me jump and make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up on end. Oh, and definitely add flying spiders to the list of that stupid film that will happen one day. Mega Crow versus whatever it was. Time for John Goodman to enter the fray now as an exterminator. That's exterminator, not Terminator. I mean, can you imagine John Goodman running after John Connor? He'd have a heart attack before he even started. Anyway, Goodman's great in his comedic role. For example, when his super bug spray doesn't kill the spider, he mans himself up and he goes and squashes it. Macho Man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm bad.
Oh, John, we salute you. So Richie turns up to tell everyone that the spiders will span out in a web-like pattern and kill all towns in their path, and they all form a plan to get the original male spider in the nest which they think is in this guy's house. Now, you may recognise him from a few things, but that's irrelevant. Now, he's just chilling out with his wife to watch Wheel of Fortune with a bowl of popcorn. Very large bowl of popcorn. Who the hell has a large bowl of popcorn in front of the TV? Oh yeah, fat people. So anyway, when Dr. Death gets there, it's too late. The curse of Dr. Death has wiped them out. Well, okay, it was a spider, but you know. So, working on a list of deaths, they work out that the nest is in a central area. And who lives there? Yes, Dr. Death, of course! Meanwhile, Richie's already there with the sheriff and he goes hunting in the barn alone. You stupid bastard! And he dies when a spider launches itself at him and bites him. Bogus.
Terrific!
In fairness, he must have wanted to die. Just listen to him.
Supper's ready. Come and get it.
Dr. Death gets to his house and suddenly the place becomes infested everywhere. Look! Even on Michael J. Fox. Wait, what was he doing in there? Seriously, there's not a safe place to be found, and if you've been twitching and feeling uncomfortable while watching the film to this point, it gets a lot worse. You just feel like you're there and the terror is easily brought across. And that's why this film is good, because it delivers on every level, but it's also entertaining and fun. Speaking of fun, Eddie falls off a ladder. Whee! Dr. Death is pretty much trapped, and it's time for Goodman to appear looking like a Ghostbuster or something.
Rock and roll.
Oh yeah, rock and roll. What are you going to do, John? Stand on them all again? Oh, look at that, acid spray. Meanwhile, Dr. Death falls into his wine cellar, and this is where the nest is. Now, there's some great moments where you feel Dr. Death's paranoia not knowing where the spider is, but then you're like, it's behind you! No, it isn't! Oh, fuck! So it explodes on the circuits and it's time to burn the nest away. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. This is the ultimate battle. Dr. Death versus the General Spider.
That was the goddamn general.
So using endless bottles of wine, I mean, come on, what a waste, seriously. Burning the spider's ass a few times and then using a nail gun, Dr. Death ultimately comes out as the champion. Of course, there is the scene when the spider crawls up his leg and you can see the metal rod rammed up its arse. I remember spotting that as a kid the very first time I saw this on TV, but it doesn't take anything away from the fact that this film, and if for any reason you've never seen it, then I definitely recommend buying it or at least watching it when it's on TV next time. Oh, and sing along to the hit song, Dr. Death. 8.5 out of 10.